Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia Radio Show. We have County Commissioner John Henry with us, and we're recapping yesterday's County Commission meeting. And one of the things you mentioned to me, I'm sure it's on your list, the County Commissioners canvassed the vote from the midterm election. What is the canvassing process? What does that mean?
So basically what happens is you have X amount of days. Once the election's over, you have, I don't know, is it 7 days or something, which was exactly yesterday, to canvass the vote. So the clerk's office puts all the numbers together, break it down on how many votes were given to each candidate, if there were any ballots, because there were a few folks, and I gave the clerk the credit yesterday as well, and it's important folks hear that. There were a number of folks that came up to me that had voted that day, and one of them had accidentally messed up her ballot and put the wrong thing on it, not the wrong vote, but hit an X or something, and so it rejected them. So the poll workers know exactly what to do. You've got to take care of that ballot because that's now a live ballot, and how to execute it, what to do, and then get them a new ballot and make sure they only get one vote, and because I know that's a big concern. And everybody I talked to, I didn't talk to one person that wasn't just overly confident and complimentary of how Eddy County handles their elections. So they take all those, any kind of abnormalities like that show up there. They can explain them, how many absentees showed up. So we go through the whole thing as to what took place in Eddy County on election day, and then we certify those and send them to the Secretary of State. So that's basically in a nutshell what canvassing is.
Okay, and that was done by the County Commission. You and I were talking about the disappointment that we both had in the turnout in Eddy County. That just seemed like, given all the talk and discussion and excitement and everything, or lack of excitement, whatever you will, everything that's going on with the world today, I would have thought the percent of turnout would have been significantly higher than what it wound up being in Eddy County.
And that's it. You're exactly right. And even yesterday we heard from somebody that said, oh, well, the machines, this, okay, we've got to take that off the table, because in Eddy County, it's not there. That discussion isn't there. Our election, we've talked about it a number of times. The county clerk has been to a number of places to visit with folks about it. I was really proud to see that in Eddy County, it wasn't an overwhelming amount, but there were a lot of citizens that went and watched those machines get certified. And I was proud to see that, because that's exactly what needs to happen. If you have concerns, go see how it's done and go make sure they're correct. And folks did that. And so Eddy County, really, I was excited because folks are paying attention. And it is important, but we continue to dwell on that. Well, let's start dwelling on the fact that in Eddy County, there's something around 60,000 people countywide. About 30,000 to 31, I don't remember the exact, somewhere in that 30,000, low 30s are registered to vote. Out of that, 48% of them showed up. So, and that's Eddy County, which was a higher turnout. Lee County only had 38% show up. So, when folks are saying, oh, well, it's the machines getting these elections, no, it's not. We're not turning out. We're not even registered to vote. And I don't even, whatever side you're voting on, it doesn't matter to me. It's your right. Well, it does matter. I would love for you to vote the way we all think you should, right? Whatever side you're sitting on. But I'm not advocating to go vote one way. Go vote. That's your right. That's what you should be doing as an American citizen, is voting, getting engaged, and these folks are making decisions for you every single day that affect your lives. And you can sit there and say they don't, but if your electric bill's higher, your gas prices are higher or lower, or your food bill's higher or lower, those things are affected by policies and things that are happening either on the federal or state level or even local level. So you've got to get involved in this, and I'm really disappointed to see over and over and over, especially, and I'll call Lee County out, especially in Lee County, their votes are just not coming in, and they only have about 2,000 more people registered to vote than we do, and they're bigger counties. So I really would love to see us get folks registered to vote, get those voters educated, and whatever way they vote, so be it. But get out and vote. That's going to make the difference. We can't continuously say we're losing because we're not turning out. We're losing because we're not casting our ballot and making our voice heard. That's what we need to be focused on. And I think hopefully that's what we will. And I know there's been a huge focus. So those that are listening to me right now that are upset, I get it. But we all have to get on board with that more and help you get these things out, get folks registered, get them educated.
And I think they know that. I say they, it's a battle. It's a competition.
Right. Sure.
One side over the other. And I think the other side knows that historically there's just not been the turnout from a percentage standpoint in this part of the state. So they only need to get so many votes out of this part of the state.
Yes.
And that's enough to minimize the impact of this part of the state. And so things turn out the way they do. I don't understand why people, I understand some of the reasons why people don't vote, but at the end of the day, you can't just say, well, my vote doesn't matter. They're all going to do what they're going to do. They're going to blah, blah, blah. So by you not voting, you are affirming
right
what you just said.
Yeah.
And so you're part of the problem, in essence, if you choose not to vote. So
no, but you're right. When people say, oh, they're just going to do what they want to do when they get there, then go find a candidate that won't. Support that candidate. Help that candidate get elected. That's how we make change.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just vote for the same thing over and over and over, and you don't like the product you're getting over and over and over, it'd be like going to a restaurant. If you eat a bad burger every single day, but you go every single day and it's still a terrible burger,
and still order the burger,
that's on you. There's nothing I can do to help you with that. There has to be a way to go and say, hey, here's a candidate we can get behind, no matter what they are, Democrat, Republican, I don't care. Find a candidate that represents your values, get behind them, get excited, and then hold them accountable to change. I mean, that's what we should all be. As an elected official, should be held accountable to change. If I said I would do something, I should do something.
You should do it.
At least work.
As county commissioner, canvassing the ballot vote yesterday, you're satisfied that the votes were accurately counted and reported in Eddy County?
In Eddy County, I feel very, very confident, and so should Eddy County. Our county clerk's office does an absolutely amazing job of making sure they are passionate. You go talk to these ladies for just a few minutes, and you will feel and hear the passion they have for making sure their elections are correct.
Good.
So we're lucky, and obviously our current county clerk will roll off. We've got a new one coming on, and she's in every one of those meetings I've been in, and her passion is every bit as much as what we currently have. So
very good.
Eddy County going forward, I feel very, very confident in the vote in Eddy County.
Good.
So,
good.
Yeah.
Well,
so should other folks.
One place to start.
Yeah. Go vote. Yeah. Make a difference. So, a couple other things. There was a big award of the New Mexico State Fire Marshal's grant going to the Loving area. The county, maybe it's been a year ago, a little less. Loving was struggling with their fire services, so the county has kind of taken them over. Now Loving continues to support that through their monies and everything else. So that was a grant going to Loving that will help those fire services. That was a great deal for them. They got a lot of things that we've got to get going up there. And that's, we talked about fire services a little bit last time I was on for county. Our full-time staff, we were shooting for 21. I think we're at 18, so we're just 3 short of being fully staffed. We're already seeing a massive impact of those folks with the volunteers. Someone asked me the other day, well, so we don't have volunteers anymore? No, we can't not have volunteers. Volunteers are still a crucial part of the whole puzzle. These full-time firefighters are there. Volunteers are supporting. It makes the volunteers also feel more comfortable, confident. It makes everybody, because all of a sudden you have folks that are there that are going to be there, and then you can come alongside them to support. So we're already seeing a big impact on that on a number of structures up in the Carlsbad area. I think we'll see the same impact down here when we get it rolling. Just supporting the city, supporting the county, everybody, and all of a sudden, I think we should feel very, very confident in what the products we're putting out. We were confident before. It's just volunteers have had to change, obviously, with times. I mean, your jobs are different. You can't just drop what you're doing. And so it's changed a little bit. You still have those volunteers that are able to do that, and we 100% have to have those. This just helps fill those pieces in. So really proud of everything Fire Services is doing on both sides and getting some things accomplished. So seeing some great impacts of that. So we'll continue to watch that and be
Didn't they
excited.
have a fire out in the county here recently that?
Oh yeah, it was. Gosh, I can't. It's tank fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he talked a little bit about that yesterday, and it was started at like 1:40. They didn't get it wrapped up till a little after 3 or something. It was a major fire, and everybody came together. There were all kinds of folks out there. I think even from outside the county that came down. It was a huge fire, but the volunteers, the pipe staff, everybody was there and did a fantastic job getting it put out, because it was a pretty major event. And of course, some folks, our county understands it a little better. When you're talking to folks up north, our apparatuses have to be greatly different because of that. I mean, we've got more foam trucks. And I think they had to adjust the foam on the fly. It sounded like a little bit, because the way it was working for that fire. And so folks need to feel confident in the things. Sometimes I get hit up, but hey, y'all buy too much fire stuff. Okay, we kind of have to, because you've got a little bit of forest. You've obviously got ground that can burn. You've got houses. You've got tanks. You've got oil. I mean, we've got so many different industries. You've got to have water doesn't put it all out. You've got to use some foam on some of these to control it better, to stop the oxygen faster. And I don't speak fire that well, but I do understand when they're explaining it to us why we need that. It makes complete sense.
Well, you got to go in that direction anyway, because soon we're going to have all these electric cars and batteries running around out there.
Yes.
And that's a different process to put out than a gasoline fire or a diesel fire.
And I can tell you right now, don't call upset if your electric car catches on fire right now. It will burn. There's nothing anyone can do about it. We might put it out, but it'll take hundreds of thousands of gallons to put it out. It's not going to work after that. So it will be broken. And I'm sorry for that. I mean, it really is, but folks need to understand those things that's something folks are going to have to start taking into better account when they're purchasing those, insuring those, everything and above. And we have to as well. I mean, there has to be something that's going to, that, what do we use? I mean,
the city and the county fire departments are going to have to be, what do we, like you say, what do we use to put that out now?
Yeah.
And is it going to stay out?
Exactly.
And all those.
And when we
things.
put those big batteries on the side of our house because we have solar panels, what does that do? I mean, there's a whole lot of new things that we're going with growth, with technology. Everything is definitely changing and new, and which is good. I mean, a lot of that's really good, but we also have to understand how to adapt and change with that as well. So
well, maybe that's why another positive of the county fire service is that
absolutely
here's a full-time resource that has a little more access to the ability to adapt to some of these new situations that you're going to have to deal with instead of maybe a volunteer fire department. Although they'll do what they need to do. They'll train up and be ready to go as they're needed.
They'll have to adapt just as and I mean, look at from the bucket system back in the early days to what we have now. I mean,
it's a lot different, isn't it?
It is a little different. Yeah, they've done a good job of adapting and changing.
Got about 2 minutes left. Was there anything else from the meeting that you?
No, not exactly from the meeting. Lots of good stuff happening in the county. We're real excited about it. Obviously, we'll see what our GRT numbers are, and the next time I'm here, we'll be able to talk about that. But we're seeing a lot of positive of things in oil and gas industry, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for the county, good for the cities. It seems like it's a lot busier out there. You're seeing a lot more traffic on the roads, which is good and bad, right? So folks need to pay attention when they're driving, be careful. I think I told you I drove that loop the last time, the West Loop last time.
Around Carlsbad?
Yeah, and so that'll be a huge help, I think, especially for artisans. If you're trying to get to that other side, it's going to make life so much easier. Hopefully we'll get that going sooner rather than later and help alleviate some of this traffic. So
has there been talk in the news about diesel shortages? Has your county your people had indicated that they're having any issues getting supply, or other than it's just more expensive than it used to be?
More expensive, that's for sure. No, we had a brief little chat last meeting, but no, we haven't really got too far into that. So
so at this point it hasn't appeared to be an issue.
It hasn't appeared to enough to get to all the commissioners.
Because that's the other thing, talking about the environmental aspect of things. Nothing gets anywhere in this country without trucks, and trucks run on diesel. trains run on diesel, and so we have to have it.
Trucks and trains are how we move everything.
Move the big movement of stuff, and then the big boats that come from China, and it's a global economy, right?
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So, well,
and it's still fascinating to see how much stuff is on back order or taking. I mean, we were talking about cars. A lot of stuff the county has ordered, big trucks, fire trucks. You're talking not months anymore. You're talking years, maybe a year to 2 years. So
that's truly amazing. So,
it is.
County Commissioner John Henry, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
And we'll see you next week, maybe.
I'll be here next week.